They say the hardest prison to escape from is the one you build in your own mind. For Maya Stevens, that prison had walls made of whispers, bars made of stares, and a lock forged from years of other people's opinions. It was just another Tuesday in the corporate cafeteria. Maya sat alone at a corner table, eating her salad, dressed professionally but conservatively, trying to take up as little space as possible. 3 co-workers sat nearby, their whispers just loud enough to be heard. "I heard she brings gym clothes to work but never actually goes. Just keeps them in her car for show," one of them said with mock concern. Another laughed. "Maybe the gym is her imaginary friend." Maya's fork stopped midway to her mouth. She pretended not to hear, but her hand trembled slightly. "I just don't understand how someone can let themselves go like that," the third co-worker added. "I mean, we work in marketing. Image is everything." Maya stood abruptly, her chair scraping loudly. The cafeteria went quiet for a moment. She dumped her half-eaten lunch in the trash and walked out, head down, fighting back tears. In the bathroom, she checked the stalls to make sure she was alone. Standing before the mirror, gripping the sink, she whispered to herself, "Don't cry. Don't you dare cry. They're not worth it." But the tears came anyway. She looked at her reflection with a mixture of disgust and despair. "What's wrong with you?" she asked her reflection. "Why can't you just be normal?" She wiped her tears roughly, reapplied her makeup with shaking hands, and pasted on a fake smile before heading back out. That night, in her small, neat apartment, Maya went straight to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. It was full of healthy food. She stared at it blankly, then closed it and opened the freezer, pulling out ice cream. She sat on the couch with the entire pint, scrolling through her phone. Social media was filled with fitness influencers, weight loss ads, before and after photos. Each swipe made her sink deeper into the cushions. "No excuses. If I can do it, anyone can," one post proclaimed. Maya threw her phone aside and turned on the TV. A weight loss commercial immediately played. Tired of being invisible? Tired of being passed over? In just 90 days, you can become the person you were meant to be. She angrily turned off the TV. Silence filled the room. She looked around her empty apartment, then down at the ice cream in her lap. She put the lid back on, walked to the kitchen, and threw it in the trash. Then she pulled it back out and ate it anyway, crying quietly. Maya's story didn't start there. Nobody's does. When she was 10 years old, she stood alone at a school dance while other kids danced and laughed. A boy pointed at her and laughed with his friends. At 16, in a clothing store, a salesgirl told her, "We don't carry your size here, but there's a plus-size store across the mall." In college, on what she thought was a promising date, the guy checked his phone constantly, clearly uninterested. Later, she overheard him telling friends, "She's cool, but, you know." At her first job interview, the interviewer's eyes scanned her body before even looking at her resume. Each moment was a brick. Each word was mortar. Until the prison was complete. The turning point came at a doctor's appointment. Maya sat nervously in the examination room when Dr. Patricia Chen entered with a clipboard. "Maya, your test results came back," the doctor said. "Your blood pressure is elevated, and your blood sugar levels are concerning. We need to talk about some lifestyle changes." Maya became defensive immediately. "I know. I need to lose weight. Trust me, I've heard it before." Dr. Chen sat down. "Actually, I want to talk about why you want to lose weight." Maya looked confused. "Isn't it obvious?" "Humor me," the doctor said gently. Because I'm fat. Because people treat me like I'm invisible. Because I hate what I see in the mirror. Because," Dr. Chen interrupted gently, "because other people have told you that you should." Silence filled the room. Maya's eyes welled up. "Maya, I've been a doctor for 25 years, Dr. Chen continued. "You want to know what I've learned? People who change out of shame rarely sustain it. They lose the weight, sure, but the shame stays. The self-hatred stays. And eventually, the weight comes back because they never dealt with the real problem." Maya's voice broke. "Then what's the point? If I can't even lose weight, what am I supposed to do?" What if you stopped trying to lose weight, Dr. Chen said, and started trying to build a life you actually want to live? Maya stared at her, speechless. The next day, Maya sat on a park bench, Dr. Chen's words echoing in her mind. She watched people exercising, running, walking dogs, doing yoga. A plus-sized woman in bright athletic wear jogged past confidently, smiling and waving at other joggers. Maya watched her, fascinated. Impulsively, Maya stood and started walking. Just walking. No goals, no apps tracking her steps, no pressure. Just movement. She noticed things she hadn't noticed in years. Birds singing, flowers blooming, children laughing. For the first time in years, she wasn't thinking about her body. She was just present. After 20 minutes, she was out of breath but smiling. She sat on a different bench, pulled out her phone, and started searching. Not for quick weight loss or fat-burning exercises. Instead, she typed, "How to love yourself." She scrolled through results, past the weight loss ads, until she found something, a local support group called Body Peace Warriors. That evening, Maya entered a bright, welcoming room at a community center. 10 people of all shapes, sizes, ages, and backgrounds sat in a circle. The facilitator, a woman named Carmen who radiated confidence, gestured for Maya to join. "Welcome. You must be Maya. I'm Carmen. We're just getting started. Everyone, let's welcome our new member." The group welcomed her warmly. Maya sat, nervous. "So, we're talking about the message," Carmen continued. "You all know what I mean. The message society sends us about our bodies. Who wants to share what their message has been?" A man in his 50s spoke first. Mine was, "You're not man enough. Real men are fit, strong, in control." A young woman with visible acne scars added, "Mine was, you're damaged. Nobody wants damaged goods." Carmen looked at Maya. "What's been your message?" Maya hesitated, then took a breath. "You're not worthy. Not worthy of love, respect, success. Not until you change. Not until you shrink. Not until you disappear." The room was silent, filled with empathy. Carmen nodded. "Thank you for sharing that. Now, here's the work. What if that message is a lie?" Maya laughed bitterly. "Then explain why I've been treated like I'm invisible my entire life." "Oh, people see you, Maya," Carmen said. "They just see you through their own broken lenses. The question isn't how do you make them see you differently. It's how do you start seeing yourself differently?" Maya had no answer. "This week," Carmen said, "your homework is simple. Every morning, stand in front of the mirror and say one kind thing about yourself. Just one. Can you do that?" Maya replied quietly, I'll try." The first morning, Maya stood before the mirror in her pajamas. After a long silence, she finally said, "Your eyes are okay." She winced at how forced it sounded. On day 3, while getting dressed for work, she said, "You have nice handwriting." She laughed at how ridiculous it felt. By day 5, after a shower, she said, "You showed up to that meeting even though you were terrified. That took guts." She paused, surprised that this one felt real. On day 7, in workout clothes about to go for a walk, she said, "You're trying. And that matters." She smiled slightly. By day 10, standing in regular clothes with no makeup yet, she said, "You deserve to take up space in this world." Her voice cracked. Tears came, but different tears. Not shame. Something else. Hope. The change wasn't dramatic. There was no lightning bolt moment. But slowly, brick by brick, Maya began dismantling her prison from the inside. 3 months later, something was different. Maya walked through the office wearing brighter colors. Her hair was styled differently. Most importantly, she was making eye contact, smiling, taking up space. She passed her former tormentors at the coffee station. They were mid-gossip but stopped as she approached. There was an awkward silence. "Morning, Jessica. Brad. Lauren," Maya said confidently. She poured her coffee, completely comfortable. They exchanged confused glances.